In the heart of Bihar, amidst the bustling streets and the sprawling countryside, there lies a village that harbors a secret as old as time. The village, known as Bhangarh, is home to an ancient fort, a relic from a bygone era now abandoned and claimed by the wilderness. The fort, with its crumbling walls and silent halls, is the center of a tale so chilling it has become a legend whispered across the state. Aman, a young and skeptical journalist from Patna, had always been fascinated by the paranormal, though he never truly believed in such tales. That was until he stumbled upon the story of the Bhangarh fort during his research for an article on Bihar's haunted locations. The legend spoke of a sorcerer who fell in love with the beautiful princess of Bhangarh. When his advances were rebuffed, he cast a dark spell on the fort, dooming it and its inhabitants to eternal damnation. Since then, it was said that whoever dared to enter the fort at night would never return. Seeing this as the perfect story to bolster his career, Aman decided to visit Bhangarh and spend the night within its ancient walls, armed with nothing but his camera and a flashlight. He arrived at the village as the sun began to set, painting the sky in shades of orange and red. The locals, upon learning of his intent, warned him against it, their faces etched with genuine fear. They spoke of eerie sounds, ghostly apparitions, and a darkness so thick it could swallow a man whole. But Aman, driven by ambition and disbelief, thanked them for their concern and proceeded towards the fort. As he crossed the threshold, a cold wind greeted him, as if the fort itself was aware of his intrusion. He explored the ruins, documenting his journey with photographs and notes, mocking the legends under his breath. However, as night enveloped the fort, Aman's skepticism began to waver. The air grew heavier, charged with an energy he couldn't explain. The once familiar sounds of the wilderness were replaced by an oppressive silence, broken only by his own footsteps. Then he heard it, a soft whisper barely audible calling out his name. Aman spun around, his flashlight piercing the darkness, but found nothing. The whispers grew, joined by faint laughter and the sound of footsteps not his own. Panic set in as Aman realized he was no longer alone. Shadows flitted at the edge of his vision, shapes that were human yet not, beckoning him deeper into the fort. In his heart, Aman knew he should flee, but his legs refused to obey. He was drawn to the innermost chamber of the fort, where the air was coldest and the whispers loudest. There, in the center of the room, lay the remnants of a ritual long forgotten, a circle of stones with ancient symbols etched into their surfaces. The air around him began to swirl, the shadows converging on the circle, taking form. The figure of a man appeared within the circle, his features obscured by the darkness, but his eyes, a deep glowing red, fixed on Aman. The sorcerer of legend stood before him, his voice echoing through the chamber, speaking of curses and eternal damnation. Aman tried to flee, but an unseen force held him in place, the sorcerer's laughter ringing in his ears. As the night wore on, the sorcerer's apparition faded, leaving Aman alone in the silence of the fort. When he finally managed to leave, the first light of dawn was breaking over the horizon. Aman never spoke of what transpired that night, the memories too terrifying to relive. He left Bihar shortly after, his article unwritten, his skepticism replaced by a deep, unshakable belief in the supernatural. The legend of the Bhangarh fort lives on, as a cautionary tale of a curse that lingers in the shadows, waiting for the next unbeliever to challenge the darkness. Aman's experience, though unspoken, serves as a grim reminder that some legends are rooted in truths too horrifying to comprehend.